Hi everyone, it's Taria from urbansketchingworld.com here, back with another video. So today I thought I'd discuss with you guys watercolor pencils, and specifically I'm going to talk about using these Derwent Inktense pencils, just because those are the ones that I happen to have. And so as you can see, these are a tin of 12 colours. So I think this is like just the minimum number that you can get in a set. And the reason that I bought them really is because I needed a bright yellow just for a little bit in a picture, which seems a bit crazy, but I looked at buying like a tube of watercolour or a pan of watercolour, like a bright yellow. And then I saw these pencils and I was like, do you know what, those might actually work really well. Because I did need like a really bright yellow, and they were actually way cheaper to buy this set of pencils than really to buy like a tube of watercolor paint, that I could find in the art shop where I am. So I'm sure online obviously it's a different story, but I don't really have that. We don't have Amazon here in South Africa. We don't really have that option anyway, so I bought the pencils, and also it's just like another medium to explore. I like experimenting with stuff, as you may have gathered. I like kind of trying different techniques or checking things out and seeing what works, because until you try things you don't know if you might stumble upon something that's really cool, and it might actually then start to inform your style and stuff. So yeah, I just really love checking out new things. But I have a love-hate relationship with that, because I do like being a bit of a minimalist as well, so I don't like buying too many things. But yeah, this set of pencils didn't seem too over the top to kind of have in my store of art supplies, so I went for it. So yeah, today I'm just going to do a sketch for you guys, and let's see how these pencils get on. So first thing I do when I buy any kind of new art material is kind of make a chart of swatches of what colours I've got to work with. So for each of these squares I'm just going to take one of the different pencils. I'm going to colour in the top third of the square with quite a lot of pigment, and then kind of back it off towards halfway down the square, and then get my brush and paint from the top downwards just to fade that colour out, just to kind of see what's possible, and how they kind of behave with the water as well. So in terms of the brush I'm just using my Escoda Reserva travel brush. I think this is the size 2, and yeah, I'm just going to go through all the different pencils quickly and show you what colours I have. So now I'm going to move on to doing a sketch with these pencils. So I'm just kind of laying out basic pencil sketch. If I'd thought about this a bit better, I would have actually done the sketch with one of the watercolor pencils, but I didn't. I did it with a real pencil, so that's fine. So I'm just using this 0.2 Unipin fine liner. Which some of you may know, that's kind of one of my favourite fine liners, really. Not a massive difference between brands of fine liners, but I think I've just got a soft spot for these ones in particular. So this picture is not one of my own photos. I actually found it on Pinterest. I have a board there which I just call Sketching Reference, and anytime I come across a beautiful photo that I think would be awesome to sketch, just for practice, I stick it in that board. And I have a bit of a thing for doors. So I discovered this when I was traveling in Malta, and I visited the city of Valletta, where they just seem to have an extraordinary collection of amazing doors around the city that I could have just spent all day sketching. So it was then I kind of realised like how cool doors are. It sounds so stupid to say, but anyway. And then I think the year after that, I went and lived in a little town called San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. And they also have amazingly ornate doors and windows and houses, in fact. So again, I had like another opportunity to kind of sketch some cool doors and windows. If you'd like to see those sketches from Malta and from Mexico and all of the other places I've travelled over the last 3 years, I do actually have a book available. See, seamless link there, seamless segue into selling you my book. No, but really, I do have a book. It's actually an ebook. It's in PDF format. It's 60 pages, and it's all of my, or most of my, watercolor and ink illustrations of the last 3 years of my travels through 15 different countries, 4 different continents. It's all in there. A few little notes as well, just to let you know what you're looking at, or a few little stories and stuff like that, including a whole page of pubs from London, because, you know, pubs are great. So yeah, do check that out if you'd like, guys. The link to that is in the description below. Whilst we're talking about the description below, there's a few other goodies in there, such as my workshop in Morocco, which is going to take place in late March 2022. So I know that seems like a really long way away, but I'm sure it'll creep up quick. I've got the small matter of getting married the month before that in 2022 to cope with as well. So 2022 first part is looking pretty busy so far. So yeah, do check out the link to that, guys. It's going to be an amazing trip. It's 9 days traveling around Morocco, painting, sketching, and also doing stuff like riding camels out into the desert to watch the sunset, all that stuff. So it's going to be an amazing trip. So do check out that link below to be one of the lucky people to come and travel with me and have some sketchy adventures. So yeah, also in the description below you'll find all the links to the bits and bobs that I'm using here in this sketch, as well as other tools that I love to use when I'm urban sketching. So the point of this video really for me is to just sort of see whether this set of 12 kind of watercolor pencils would actually do the job, you know, if I went out urban sketching with them. So that's kind of what I'm trying to assess here. I'm trying to see if I can get some reasonable colours out of these super bright pencils, to see if they would actually be useful to me, and if they'd in fact on some trips actually be able to replace my watercolour paints. So that's kind of what we're experimenting with here. As you can see, I'm sort of layering 2 different colours over the top of each other. I didn't try that out in my swatch chart there, but actually it's something I'd probably go on to do. Now I've thought about it some more, I might sort of see how the colours interact with each other and how you can actually mix them, so that you're not restricted obviously to just the 12 colours in the pack, but you can mix them to create other kind of colours. So I'm quite happy with how they're working on this door here. I am getting the kind of colour I was hoping for. But yeah, I really do think there's, you know, a learning curve with these to see how they interact with each other. But so far, I'm liking that. The other thing is that I'm using this Hahnemuhle watercolor sketchbook, and it definitely has a cold press texture to it. You know, it's cold press paper, so it's not super rough, but it's definitely got that sort of the usual texture you'd expect, really. Which can be a blessing and a curse with these pencils. Obviously on this door and a brick wall and the concrete, it's like really cool. It's kind of adding texture, which you might otherwise kind of struggle to get with watercolor paints, for example. However, if you are looking for like a super smooth, kind of consistent color, then using these pencils on a textured paper is quite kind of difficult to do that, to get it super smooth. I don't really have any smooth watercolor paper, but I do have a sketchbook that's got reasonably thick paper in it that is smooth, and I did try kind of my theory out about this, and yeah, you can definitely get smoother washes, if you like, on the smooth paper. So just something to be aware of if you're going to buy these pencils or any watercolor pencils and use them, then the texture of the paper definitely has an effect on the finish that you get with them. So I am going to put the rest of this into time lapse, and I'm just going to interject at various points where I've got something I want to mention. So you may have noticed here that I actually switched from the water brush back to using the Escoda brush I was using when I was making the swatches. The reason for this is I just wanted to experiment with how the pencils respond to different paintbrushes. So obviously if you're going out urban sketching with these pencils, it's super handy just to be able to take these pencils, your sketchbook, and the water brush. That's pretty super minimalist, so I like that idea. So that's why I started off with the water brush. But yeah, when I got onto these bricks, I wanted to see what it was like with the Escoda. And then here you can see I've switched to the Rosemary & Co. dagger brush, which is one of my favourite brushes, because it's got that pointy bit, so you can get some nice kind of straight lines and whatnot. So I do actually really prefer how these pencils respond with a more traditional paintbrush rather than the water brush. That's just my preference. I just feel like they kind of work better. So that's not to say that just for some super quick sketching, the water brush is more than adequate. It's totally fine. So just for this final bit, guys, I'm just going to use my 0.7 fine liner. So I was using the 0.2 earlier just for the sketch. And now I'm going back in with the 0.7 just to darken some lines, thicken up some areas, just to give it a real nice bit of punch. That's something I've definitely learned over the years in urban sketching, is your line weight really does make a nice difference to the depth of your sketch. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. So I've really enjoyed doing this sketch with the watercolor pencils. I was kind of pleasantly surprised at the slightly more natural tones that I could actually achieve with these pencils, because they are obnoxiously bright. The Inktense label definitely doesn't lie. They're also great because once you put them down and they dry, they kind of don't lift off, so you can layer them up quite nicely. But it does mean they're kind of stained, so you also can't really lift them off either. But overall, I'm super, super happy, and if I had to go out urban sketching with just these pencils, I think, I think they'd be fine. I'd be able to get a sketch that I'd be happy with. So I really hope this video has helped you guys. It's been an interesting learning curve for me. I'm going to carry on experimenting with these pencils. I think for the price tag, they are, really good. Would I be worried about carrying them around or breaking them or anything? I don't think so, no. Obviously, you wouldn't want to drop them or whatever and break kind of the pigment that's inside the wooden pencil. But I think, you could carry your watercolor tin around and drop them and break the pans inside. So again, it's just a case of being careful. Yeah, you have to carry a sharpener around with you, but if you've got a little pot or something, you can just put your sharpenings in. It's like really not a big deal. So overall, super happy with these pencils. I'll probably do some more sketches with them and probably post them on YouTube if you guys are interested. Do let me know if you have watercolor pencils, if you have a different brand, if you have this brand. Let me know how you get on with them. I'd be super interested to hear your feedback in the comments below. Alright, cheers guys. Don't forget to go and check out urbansketchingworld.com, which is the blog, and sign up to my email newsletter for the first news of what is going on with me, including a super exciting, crazy road trip from London to Russia next year. Fingers crossed, COVID permitting. Alright, cheers guys. See you in the next one.